Welcome to the Ask the Experts show with local celebrity hosts Steve-O and Renee. Sit back each week while Steve-O and Renee educate you with live in-studio experts, such as lawyers, doctors, home improvement, and financial experts in their field. Call in and have your questions answered each week at 888-565-1470. Now, here is Steve-O and Renee with today's expert in their field.
Good afternoon and welcome to another Ask the Experts radio show where we bring you the top experts in South Florida in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm co-host Steve-O and my great, gorgeous co-host Renee.
How you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Finally, it's a beautiful day outside. Hey, if you'd like to watch today's show, you can do it by going to www.KB, that's B as in boy, rlegal.com. There are guest hosts for our community association show that we do the first Monday of each month. So if you've got questions about something that's going on with your HOA, your condo association, give us a call right now at 888-565-1470. Let me introduce you to our guest, the senior partners of Kaye Vendor Rembaum. Whatever happens with Rembaum, is he upset that he never gets
He's in Orlando.
No, he's in Palm Beach Gardens.
Oh, Palm Beach. I thought he was in Orlando for some reason.
Sometimes.
Oh, okay.
So introduce.
I thought you just did. So we have senior partners Robert Kaye and Michael Bender.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's start off by telling everybody we're going to be taking the show on the road on March 11th. We're going to be doing a town hall, and we're going to have a live studio audience. So tell everybody about that, what time it starts, where the event is.
Sure. Well, hello, everybody, again. We're happy to be bringing our town hall show on the road, the radio show on the road with us to one of our town hall programs. It's going to be at the Deerfield Beach Chamber of Commerce next Wednesday, March 11th. It's a morning program. It starts at 9:30, and it's scheduled 2 hours, 9:30 to 11:30, at the Deerfield Beach Chamber of Commerce, which is on 1601 East Hillsborough Boulevard in Deerfield Beach. It is free to attend. We will be we're filming and recording the radio show, and we're excited to have people come and join us for that. We'll be answering all questions that people have on issues that that face their community associations. Really, it's a real great forum for that. We do ask that you RSVP because we do have some space limitations, and you can RSVP to us at KBR info@kbrlegal.com. There's also, or you can email at info@kbrlegal.com or call us at 954-928-0680. If you go to our website, which is kbrlegal.com, you can also find information about this program, and I believe there's a link there that you can click to RSVP as well.
And that show is going to actually air in two parts. So the first of the two parts, one is going to be on April 2nd from 4 to 5. And it's also going to be filmed and on Ustream and YouTube, so they can watch that as well as your website.
But they should come out and attend.
Yes, because you could be part of the filming. So if you're a property manager, tell people who should be attending a meeting like this at the town hall.
It's a great program for property managers to come with or without their boards to be able to get some free advice, if you will, about different issues that are coming up. It's certainly great for board members as well, individuals who are maybe seeking to get on their boards, interested owners. Like I said, what happens is when you RSVP, we ask that you maybe if you have a particular subject matter or that you'd like us to discuss, let us know in advance. Otherwise, and we normally get anywhere from 10 to 20 different topics that are emailed to us. Some overlap, and we will address all of those at the program. And then what we do is we actually will just, like a town hall setting, we'll ask, by show of hands, give us a topic. And there's a lot of give and take. It's a lot of back and forth, and everyone seems to come away from these programs very satisfied with the information and the opportunity that they've had to get a lot of good intel.
Okay, so again, that's March 11th, 9:30 in the morning at Deerfield.
The Deerfield Beach Chamber of Commerce on East Hillsborough Boulevard.
Okay, so come out and see us.
My friend in Dallas, who just got elected to the board, listened to our show last month, and he said, "Do you mind if I call? He said, I get people stop me in the hallways all the time. He's in a high-rise condo. He said, don't have to worry about asking. Call our show. Call us at 888-565-1470. He even asked me if he could call and ask some questions. I don't know,
told him yes.
but he's in Texas. I don't know if the law.
Well, Texas law could be a little different in some ways, but generally the overview is much the same.
But he loved the show, though. That's what was so cool. And he's a board member of about a 25-story high-rise. These town halls that you do, tell everybody what goes on at the town hall meetings that are free.
Well, what we do is we like the format to be, as I mentioned, more free flowing. It's not a lecture or in a seminar format of that nature. What it is really an opportunity for Robert and I. And Robert and I are both present, and we're able to provide a lot of this information. And it's really on subject matters that are most pertinent to those in attendance. So you come out and you get to hear about the topics that you want to hear about, and which will range from the assistance animals, fair housing issues, covenant enforcement on unauthorized occupants, official records, meetings, budgets, elections, certainly delinquencies, bank foreclosures, and different ways to address collection foreclosure as not only your traditional methods, but some other alternative methods, and this is just we're basically sharing our experience. We are, as a community association law firm, we're corporate counsel for about 800 plus communities. And so a lot of these issues are not going to be first impression. And we get to share our experiences with those managers and board members who come. And like I said, they get addressed the issues that they want to hear about that day. We have people who've come to multiple town halls because there are different topics that come up. Sometimes sometimes the same topic might come up, but there are questions that are posed that are a different perspective on the topic, and we get to address it that way as well. And it's a real nice give and take. I bet there's no such
thing as a dumb question, is there?
Yeah. Generally, no.
If you're new to the board, this is a great time to come out, and maybe you had a question you thought it might embarrass yourself. You can come out. I mean, we have two of the top HOA condo association attorneys that are they'd love to answer your questions.
Well, this is an area of the law that's constantly changing. In the years since the statutes began in condominiums in the late 60s, almost every year there's a change to the statute. Certain portions of the statute have been changed almost every year, such as in the insurance section in condominiums. We see so many changes. Every other year, it seems, they're making significant changes to it. So keeping up with that and the constant changes in the statute and the evolving case law that addresses these issues is very difficult for the average person. And that's one of the purposes of these seminars.
Tell everybody a little background about your law firm.
Well, the law firm, Kaye Rembaum, has been continuously providing services in community association law since 1992. We've grown to, as Michael said, over 800 communities that we provide services to. We have offices in Palm Beach Gardens and Pompano Beach being our main office. They can reach our office at 954-928-0680 in Pompano Beach, or 800-974-0680. To call Palm Beach Gardens Direct, 561-241-4462. The law firm covers all aspects of community association issues, reviewing the covenants, providing opinions to the board as to whatever issue they bring up, dealing with covenant enforcement, people that are in violation, collections of unpaid assessments, contract review and negotiation, construction defect litigation with developers, with contractors, all sorts of issues of that nature across the gamut.
So what are the most frequent questions that come up, most frequent issues?
There are so many that come up, it's hard to say one being most frequent.
Which is the most prevalent?
These days, I would say one of the ones that is most most heard involves the service animal issue.
I was just about to say that the assistance animals and the service animals.
Right. The emotional support animals is an area that it seems to be in so many different places. There's a lot of communities that have restrictions on pets, and these types of things are covered by fair housing laws, which makes them not pets under the law, so the pet restrictions don't apply. And they're very significant and complicated procedures involved in dealing with this to avoid possible discrimination claims.
Why are there restrictions on pets?
Why are there? Well, you can't really say the exact why as to why one community has it over another. Sometimes the developer, when they created the documents, put them in, but sometimes communities aren't geared for the needs of pets. High-rise buildings don't have areas for pets to walk. Dogs tend to bark and make noises. Sometimes size is an issue. Large dogs in a small, confined setting can be problematic. Some people have allergies and they don't want to be around animals. There's so many different reasons of why they would do that.
That makes sense. We actually got an email, which we sent over to you. Somebody said they enjoy the show, enjoyed listening
happy
to you
news.
guys. But they said they have a firm that represents them. Do they have to stay with that firm?
No. Well, if they're not satisfied with the representation that they're receiving, or if they would like to see if consider alternatives, obviously that is a discretion of the board. The board has the discretion to contract with multiple law firms should they choose. Most of our clients we represent as full general counsel, where we handle all their day-to-day operations, and we'll also handle their collection, foreclosure, their delinquency needs. But there are a few of our clients where they will have us as general corporate counsel, and they might have another entity, whether it's a collections firm or some other entity that just handles their delinquencies. On a rare occasion, we're just handling collections, and they have someone else handling general. But for the most part, we do handle everything, and as a full-service community association law firm. So really, that's a discretion.
So can they come to you for a free consultation? Can they meet with you, or you don't do that?
Of course we do.
Okay.
No, absolutely. I mean, anytime if there's a board that's interested in considering us, we would certainly expect that I would expect as part of, when you're sitting on a board, and we talk to our boards all the time, you have an obligation. It's a fiduciary obligation to act in the best interest of the community. And if you're looking to hire a vendor, it would make sense to me that you would look to meet that vendor. Now, it's possible that if you have a trust in, like we have people who come to our seminars, board members, and they go back and they tell their membership that they really like what they heard. This is a firm they know what they're doing. We should hire them. And they'll hire, and then the board will have a meeting, and they'll discuss, and they'll hire us because they feel that they can get better service. And I think for the most part, they've been very satisfied. But I do recommend that if you're interested and you'd like to know more, just give us a call. And I myself or another attorney in my office would be happy to come and sit down with the board. You can come to our offices. We'd love to have you see our offices, or we come out to the community. And no charge, no obligation, just to find out a little bit more about the community and what their needs are, and explain to them who we are and how we can help.
Or they could come March 11th to the seminar. That's right.
Well, they should come March 11th either way. Either way,
exactly.
come March 11th.
And the number one thing for your firm is service.
That's true. It's always been our philosophy when our clients call us, they're not calling because they want to chat or they want to be friendly. They have an issue that needs to be resolved. And we always strive to be prompt in our responses. We respond to telephone calls the same day, emails almost as fast as they come in, it seems. And responses to technical legal questions generally are out very quickly within a matter of days. At the longest, sometimes the same day if we can, and we write in a fashion that's generally understandable by the layperson. We don't want to provide advice to people that they can't understand. That makes no sense for them.
That is true.
Give everybody your phone number.
954-928-0680 or 1-800-974-0680, 561-241-4462.
We're going to be going to a break in just a minute. If you have a question that you would like to ask either Robert or Michael, call us at 888-565-1470. That's 888-565-1470. We're going to go to break. We're going to be right back.
Is your community association looking for prompt, effective, cost-efficient, and understandable legal advice and services? You'll find that and more with Kaye Bender Rembaum, a full-service commercial law firm concentrating on the representation of more than 800 community associations throughout Florida. With offices in Broward and Palm Beach counties, Kaye Bender Rembaum assists clients in all matters of association representation, including but not limited to collection of assessments, contract negotiation, covenant review and amendment, covenant enforcement, and construction defect claims. Under the direction of attorneys Robert Kaye, Michael Bender, and Jeffrey Rembaum, Kaye Bender Rembaum is dedicated to providing clients with an unparalleled level of personalized and professional service regardless of their size and takes into account their individual needs and financial concerns. For more information, visit www.kbrlegal.com or call 954-928-0680.
Process the same.
And we're back. I love doing this show because it's so, I mean, we get
It's informative.
we get emails. People, I love it when we get emails, people thanking us. I know there, a lot of them are residents that are not necessarily on the board, but they love the show.
And we have a phone call.
We have Kelly on the phone. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful. How you doing?
I'm doing well, a bit frustrated.
Uh-oh. I bet we have the right people in here to help you.
I hope so.
Okay. Ask your question.
Sure. I live out in a Pembroke Pines community, and our pool has been closed for well over a year. And I've called several times to the association to find out, you know, if I'm paying, call it $200 a month in HOAs. I can't even use my amenities. I have to go to several communities over. What is the next step? What can I do?
Is yours a condominium or a homeowner association?
Homeowners Association.
Okay. Have you written any formal inquiry or any?
I have emailed. I have not written paper.
Okay. The first step is quite often to send a letter by certified mail and a copy by regular mail to the association, making a demand that the amenities be reinstated or an explanation as to what the status is. Have you attended any meetings of the board? Are they holding meetings of the board?
They are. I always tend to be on the east side with my daughter on those nights. So if that's the next step, then I would definitely make it.
If you can go to a board meeting, that'd certainly be helpful to you to have a dialogue with the people who are in charge to find out just what the problem is. If you continue to feel like you're spinning your wheels, then the only other next step for you would be to consult with an individual attorney to address the issue with the association itself. Because it sounds like there could be a potential breach of fiduciary duty there of the individual board.
Did you say why it was closed?
Okay.
Did you do you know why
would
it's
that
closed?
Be something that you would do?
Hi, Kelly. What was the reason for? Before we get to that, what was the reason the pool being that you were told the pool's closed?
They haven't gotten back. I've called several times.
And it's nothing obvious to you, or there's no notice on there that says there's a particular reason.
It just says pool closed.
Huh. So I think what you suggested.
Well, if we can't help you, we can direct you to somebody who can.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks for the
Kelly.
call.
Do you ever get problems like that with pools?
Of course.
Yeah.
So that's nothing new.
You know, there could be problems with the mechanics of the pool, but a year is a long time. It sounds like it could be more of a financial situation for the association not being able to afford whatever it is that needs to be done. There's the possibility that there's a management problem, that the either the board or the management company or a combination is dropped the ball.
And that actually is a perfect example of, Kelly brought to a potentially very serious issue. I mean, pools, especially as you get to the warmer weather, and a year is a long time. But in order for us to be able to best address something like that, there's a lot of fact gathering that needs to be done. And so Robert just now in 2 seconds just said it could be this, it could be that, and that's so before you could really guide someone like Kelly in her situation, or even a board coming to us with questions, which happens a lot too. We need to be able to understand the full set of facts.
But there is
But she's
one,
not getting any answers. She
There-
just said
there-
that she's not getting any answers.
That
Why?
is-
Which is
Well, there's only been
Not
emails
okay.
so far, but
Right.
another piece of advice I would give to Kelly and anyone in a similar circumstance is, and Kelly mentioned that she's paying so much for the homeowner association and not getting her money's worth. Do not withhold your payments of assessments to the association when they are not maintaining, because that is not a defense if you are subject to a lien and foreclosure under your documents.
so. What are your options then? So what do you do if you keep?
Well, you,
I mean,
you
not
have
even
to
just for the
address
pool.
it affirmatively. You need to contact an attorney that understands these areas and is able to deal with the board directly, and sometimes legal action may be required.
And that's at an expense to the homeowner.
Well, it initially will be, but there is prevailing party attorney fee recovery in many of these types of cases. So if the homeowner is correct in what they're bringing their legal action about, there is the likelihood of recovering some or all of their expenses.
Wow. Let's talk about the election process. And what are the pitfalls in the election process in a condo?
Doing it wrong.
Right. Well, we are in.
How do you do it right?
It's definitely election season. I guess elections happen all throughout the year, but we see many elections go from somewhere between January and April. And in fact, we have a course on election issues that we're offering on March 19th.
A
this
free
year.
course.
It's a free course at our office. But that question does come up a lot. And as far as what pitfalls you might see, and especially in a condominium election, is not following the statutory process. And in a condominium, especially the 718 has a specific process for how the election is to take place, as far as the requirements to send out notices, what the notices need to contain, the time frames for when those notices need to be sent out. More specifically, the first notice of a condominium election needs to be sent at least 60 days prior to the election date. It then requests that individuals who want to run for the board submit a notice of intent to run, and has to give them the deadline date, which is 40 days prior to the date of election. If you put that date incorrect, that could be a basis for having to start over. You then have a second notice that gets mailed out, which is supposed to contain the ballots, assuming you have more people running than there are open seats.
So this is typically a mail-in.
Well,
Yes,
in
for
a condominium
condominiums.
setting,
Yeah.
it's in a condominium setting under the statute. It is unless your community is small, 10 units or smaller, and you vote to opt out. So for the most part, yes, it's a mail-in where the second notice would be sent, and that would include a ballot. The ballot should list all names alphabetically by surname, and if you leave a name off a ballot or if you don't do it correctly, that's another potential pitfall. Individuals, candidates who are running, are also allowed to submit an information sheet by a date certain. And if they do submit an information sheet and you fail to mail that out, that's another potential pitfall. But you also mail envelopes, inner envelopes and outer envelopes. The inner envelope is a blank envelope that just says ballot. The outer envelope is where that envelope goes into with the ballot, and that's where the owners, and the pitfall for the owners, and any condominium owners who are listening, this is important for you. When you are submitting your ballots back to the association on the outer envelope, make sure you put your name, you sign it, and you put your unit number. And if the community uses voting certificates are a document where, and it's usually required by the bylaws when there's multiple owners or corporate ownership. Sometimes you don't need it for husband and wife, but it really depends on the documents and the policies used, followed over historically. But the voting certificate is a paper that's filled out that indicates who of the multiple owners or corporate ownership has the right to vote on that for that unit.
It's also important to know that's not a proxy. A lot of homeowners bring that to the meeting thinking they can appoint somebody who's not an owner to vote in their place, but that's not the purpose of this document.
Right. So, and that voting certificate is filled out, and that individual is who should sign that outer envelope. Because one of the biggest, I'll call it pitfalls that you have as far as the election process goes, is when you have envelopes that are submitted where they don't have an outer envelope, or they didn't sign the outer envelope, or they did not or it's not the authorized voting representative who signs the outer envelope. And unfortunately, in those scenarios, those ballots should be disregarded. And what we try to do, if at all possible, is obviously not disenfranchise anyone, but you have laws that are followed. And the election laws under 718 and the Florida Administrative Code are pretty clear.
So basically, your vote doesn't count if it's not done properly.
That's the
a
risk.
possibility, yes.
And what are the people who say the snowbirds who live out of town? What happens with them?
Well, hopefully the requirements under the law are the first notice goes at least 60 days in advance. Second notice is at least 14 days in advance. And what we find is in most of our communities, because the notices of intent to be a candidate and those information sheets have to be back at least 35 days prior to the date of the election, they try to get their packages out more like 21 to 30 days in advance, so that those packages that do have to go overseas or out of state can get there and hopefully get back in time. Because currently, the only way to vote in a condominium and the cooperative is by mailing back your ballot or
hand
delivering it. So it's not, you can't email a vote in. There's no electronic voting in Florida at this time.
And they can't fax it because it's got to be in
Correct.
the envelope.
Do you teach about vetting the candidates?
Vetting them?
Like their background and what they should ask?
Well, both in condominiums and HOA laws, an individual that has a felony conviction in their background is not qualified to serve on the board so long as their civil rights have not been restored for at least 5 years. And in Florida, getting your civil rights restored is more unusual than usual. So typically, if somebody has a felony conviction, they're not going to be qualified for service on the board. It's not normal for associations to do background checks of their candidates, but if they decide they want to, it's a reasonable interpretation of what the legal requirements are and a reasonable act by the association to do.
So you mentioned something before. Do you have to be a resident to be elected to be a candidate? Because you just mentioned something before. You allude to the fact that possibly you didn't have to be a resident. Is that the case, or do you have to be a resident to be a candidate?
Well, it's going to be governed by the articles and bylaws of the community primarily. I mean, occasionally it's in your declaration, but the articles of incorporation and the bylaws, which create the corporate entity itself. Remember, all community associations, the condominium, the cooperative, the HOA, they're all corporations. Some very large, some may be smaller, but they are corporations. The board of directors governs the business, and the articles and bylaws are what create the corporate entity itself. Whereas the declaration really governs the Constitution. It's how the community is governed. So the articles and bylaws will set forth the requirements for eligibility for the board. And if the articles and or bylaws require that you need to be a member of the community,
that means an owner.
Then that means typically it's defined as an owner. So then you need to be an owner. What we quite often see, talk about what some of the experiences is, people will look to the bylaws, and the bylaws will provide certain requirements. But the articles of incorporation are in the chain of command of the documents, if you will. The articles of incorporation are superior. So if the language of the articles, for instance, if the articles do not require that an owner be a member, but the bylaws do, there's an inherent conflict, and the language of the articles would control. And so that's why it's important to have all of your documents reviewed by experienced counsel when asking these questions, making sure you're running them properly and amending where you need to amend.
It's also important to note that in the Condominium Act, it provides that every unit owner, except for those who aren't otherwise qualified in the statute, are entitled to run and serve on the board. The limitations in the statute for condominiums are the felony conviction, as I mentioned, and somebody who's in arrears in their assessments of more than 90 days. There can be other limitations in the documents, but in condominiums, if you get involved with the Division of Condominiums to review it, their propensity is that whatever the Condominium Act says is all there is. And while that's not necessarily legally true, that's how the division looks at this.
By the emails we get, there's a lot of residents that have a condo association, homeowners association. If you have a question, call us right now. We're going to go to break. Call us at 888-565-1470. That's 888-565-1470. We will be right back.
Is your community association looking for prompt, effective, cost-efficient, and understandable legal advice and services? You'll find that and more with Kaye Bender Rembaum, a full-service commercial law firm concentrating on the representation of more than 800 community associations throughout Florida. With offices in Broward and Palm Beach counties, Kaye Bender Rembaum assists clients in all matters of association representation, including but not limited to collection of assessments, contract negotiation, covenant review and amendment, covenant enforcement, and construction defect claims. Under the direction of attorneys Robert Kaye, Michael Bender, and Jeffrey Rembaum, Kaye Bender Rembaum is dedicated to providing clients with an unparalleled level of personalized and professional service regardless of their size and takes into account their individual needs and financial concerns. For more information, visit www.kbrlegal.com or call 954-928-0680.
And we're back. God, I love these. We're getting these calls in. 888-565-1470. We have another caller on the line.
We have Mary Ellen.
Mary Ellen. Hi, Mary Ellen.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Can you guys hear me okay?
Oh, we can hear you fine. You have a question for our guest?
Perfect. I do. I'm calling from a small community, about 32 units, and we have pretty high legal bills, in part due to resident disputes with the current board members. So I was calling to find out, in your opinion, what's the role of an attorney for communities, particularly smaller ones like mine? I think that we do need an attorney, but when should they be utilized? Should residents be allowed to contact the association attorney directly? Are they there to play the role of mediator? Are they there to look at the legal docs that, for instance, you were just talking about the legal docs? So that's my question.
Well, thank you, Mary Ellen. The attorney's role is primarily advisory to the association. The attorney will provide guidance and advice through the board of directors. The attorney represents the corporation, which is your association, and the association acts through the board of directors. The individual unit owners are members of that corporation, but they don't have any operational rights, and they generally do not have direct contact with the association attorney. If you think you have high legal bills now, if every unit owner had the ability to call your attorney, your legal bills would go through the roof.
Right.
So generally speaking, the attorney is there to guide the board on whatever legal issues that they are dealing with, and then provide legal representation if there are disputes in either an offensive manner in order to compel somebody to do something, or defensively if somebody brings a claim against the association.
Is that something that we should work into our docs of who can contact the attorney directly?
It's not something that's typically in the documents. It's generally with ourselves. When an association hires our law firm, we recommend to the board that they identify among themselves who is the authorized contact person. Because even when you have 5 board members, if all of them are calling the attorney, the bills go a little bit higher than they otherwise would, and you get different perspectives of the same question, and you could be asked the same question in different ways and get different answers, and that's not efficient to the association. So we suggest there be more of a conduit type of a relationship through 1 or 2 people.
Marianne, let me piggyback also a little bit further on the role of the attorney. Obviously, the issues that are ongoing at the association, are you a member of your board?
I am a former member. I was president for 2 years, about 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay, so you have the experience, though. So to follow what I'm saying is, when there are issues that arise in the community, the attorney is only going to become aware of them and the extent of them if brought into the picture, and that would typically be by the board if it's self-managed, or possibly through a manager if there's a management company involved. Speaking for our firm, at all times, our efforts would be toward reviewing all the information we're given, trying to obtain sufficient information to guide the board. And it's certainly more toward trying to resolve issues amicably when possible. Clarify for the boards what the correct legal if there are legal issues involved. But as Robert mentioned, as an advisor, it's not our job to make the business decision for the board. What I always tell people is, as your legal advisor, you need to be reaching out to us so that we can point out to you all the pros and cons, options that are available, and the cost benefit analysis for each of those options, if there are any. So as board members, you make the business decision, but it's a fully informed business decision. And that's really, I think, the role of the attorney, of good attorneys, is to be able to have the experience to guide boards by giving them full information, so when they make a decision, they can feel comfortable that they've made one that's fully informed and accept as much risk or as little risk as they want to in that process.
And that's the primary role. The secondary role is as the enforcer of the decisions that the board actually makes. And that's another reason why the attorney doesn't have direct contact with the individual membership, because they could be at odds legally, and the attorney would be representing the corporation adverse to that unit owner.
Right. That makes sense. Okay. I think we still have a lot of landmines, if you will, to work out with this 1% current resident, but that helps clear.
Well, if you're having issues between the residents and the board, there are options for the residents if the board is doing things that are not necessarily in compliance with the law, and are using attorneys to help continue that particular way of doing things. And the owners can consider recalling the board, or at election time getting more like-minded people to take control.
Yeah, that issue has come up in our community before, and we sort of dealt with that a little bit. And I think the board now is a pretty good one. It's just one particular resident who's very out there and creating a lot of disruption. So
well, they can run up fees, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We do see...
trying to find a way to limit that.
Unfortunately, when somebody has the will to create havoc, they generally continue to do that. And
correct.
The board is in the unfortunate position of having to decide to either defend against it or just let it go. And it's usually in everybody's interest to defend it, which costs money.
Right, exactly. So, okay, but that helps to clarify for me, if I get back involved with the board, and how we should define our relationship with the attorney, particularly as it relates to residents who contact you.
And if we can ever be of further assistance, I hope you'll consider us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for your call.
You.
Please give everybody your number again. It's the best time to do it.
800-974-0680 is a main line that you can reach either our Pompano Beach office or our Palm Beach Gardens office. That's 800-974-0680.
And if you have a question for either Robert or Michael, call us right now at 888-565-1470. That's 888-565-1470. And let's just talk about March 11th again.
Well, the March 11th Town Hall, we're actually, as I like the way Renee put that, we're taking the radio show on the road, and we're going to be having it at it's our last scheduled town hall for our 7th season doing it. And that's March 11th at the Deerfield Beach Chamber of Commerce. It's a morning program, 9:30 to 11:30, 1601 East Hillsborough Boulevard in Deerfield Beach. Please do go to our website at kbrlegal.com. Look for the link. You can click an RSVP there. Or if you want to send an email to info at kbrlegal.com. And it is a free program.
And we're going to be filming out there. Steve-O and myself are going to be out there.
Yes. And it will be the filming will be filming. It'll be on the radio, but again, the program itself will be give and take, Q&A, and we're really excited about it. We also have some additional programs coming up in this month. Actually, March is a very busy month because we have some new programs we're offering out of our Pompano Beach office. On March 19th, we will be doing, it's a dual program. It's an hour program on enforcing covenants, on covenant enforcement for the HOA or the condo and cooperative, and election issues. For this is the second hour for the HOA and the condominium. And that is 6:30 to 8:30 on March 19th out of the Pompano office. There'll be courses again in April and June. You can look online for that. We continue with our board certification classes, both in our Palm Beach office, Palm Beach Gardens and Pompano Beach office. In fact, on Wednesday, most of these classes take place in our offices, but I will be doing a condominium board member certification class in Weston.
And board members have to be certified.
Board members must have their certification, correct. And they have to have their certification filed with their association office, within 90 days of being elected or appointed. The good thing about a board, if you take the education class and get the certification that way, is even if you're not yet on your board, that certification is valid for 1 year. So if you're going to run for your board later this year or even early next year and you get the certification now, you will have met your requirement. That's in Weston at the Bonaventure Town Center this Wednesday, March 4th from 6:30. It starts at 6:30 p.m. On 16690 Saddle Club Road in Weston. It's a Bonaventure Town Center in Weston. And then we have them in our Pompano office on March 10th and in our Palm Beach office on March 17th. That's for the condominium. HOA class also in Palm Beach on March 10th. Again, go to our website, kbrlegal.com.
And
There's a
everything's
calendar
listed
of
there,
events. Also, Rembaum's Roundup is going to be going out, and it lists all of these events. And if you're not on the mailing list for that, you just send us an email at info@kbrlegal.com. Ask us to get put on that mailing list. We'll be happy to put you on the mailing list for that, as well as our email, the firm email blast, which does give you updates on all of these. The other thing I wanted to point out is we're going to be at a couple of conventions. There's multiple conventions, expos that are going on. And this month, on Wednesday, March 18th, we're going to be at the Broward County Convention Center in Fort Lauderdale at the Broward County Condo and HOA Expo. Not only will we have a booth there, but we will also be giving 2 classes. We will be giving a 2-hour legal update. It's the 2015 legal update that goes over the changes from 2014. And then we'll be doing the covenant enforcement program later in the day. So if you can come out on Wednesday, March 18th, it's 10:30 to 3:30 p.m. at the Broward County Convention Center. There's and if you go, you can go email me if you're interested, and I will email you back an invitation, which gets you a free lunch as well on the firm. And so hopefully you can come out to that. On March 25th, we'll be at the Palm Beach County Convention Center at the Palm Beach Condo and HOA Expo, again doing a 2-hour legal update class, also the 1-hour covenant enforcement class. Same scenario. We'll be at a booth there in the exhibit hall as well, and if you'd like to come, email us and we'll send you an invitation for a free lunch.
Okay, we have a caller. We have somebody with a question. John. Hey, John, do you have a question for either Robert or Michael?
Or both.
Hi,
Or
yes.
both?
Hi, yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I just recently moved, and I'm thinking about getting involved with the HOA, and so my question is why do board members now have to be certified? I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
calling,
John.
John.
Thanks, John. In board member certification was implemented for condominium board members a few years back, and and 2 years ago it was added for HOA board members and cooperative board members. And the certification requirement is can be handled one of 2 ways. John, the first way, which is quite frankly the simple way, is there is a form that has been created by the state which requires a board member to sign it that certifies that they have read their documents, they promise to uphold them, and they will meet their fiduciary obligation and all those good things. I'm paraphrasing the words. The good news, John, is a few years, when the language was first put in the statute, it required you to sign a document that said you read and understand your documents. But a year later, the legislators in Tallahassee removed the understand requirement, so you only need to have read your documents now. So
You
that's
don't have to understand them.
right.
At least
They don't-
certified
interesting.
them.
Right. You don't have to certify you understand them, just that you've read them. And that's one way of doing it. And it is the easy way. And that has to be signed within 90 days after being elected or appointed to the board and put on file. The alternative way of getting certification, and the way we do recommend, whether you sign that certificate I just mentioned or not, go get yourself an education certificate. And I think, John, to answer your question directly, why certification? I think it's to try to ensure that all board members who are willing to at least sit down for a couple hours and take a division-approved education class will get a good foundation for what it means to be a board member in the state of Florida, and what your obligations, what your roles, responsibilities are to meet that fiduciary obligation. And it also gives you a little bit of insight into what the role of your management team might be, should you have one, the role of your attorney, your accountant, etc. And it lets you go home with good material. Again, I'm speaking for our class, of course, but you do go home with good education materials which you can refer back to. And I think it's very important that all board members get this education from some location, whether it be with us or whether it be at other places that offer it. Even more than once. We've had many people come more than once because while the basic materials are the same, questions are different, information that comes up are different, attendees are different, and we encourage a lot of give and take with our attendees. And so that education requirement is something that you can also do in lieu of just filling out that certificate. And as I mentioned, John, for you, since you're not yet on the board, but you're considering it, if you go and take a board member education class, for instance, if you're out in the Weston area on Wednesday and you want to come to that March 4th class, I would give you a certificate which you could hold, and that certificate is valid for a year. So if your board has elections sometime before if your elections are in January or February of 2016, the certificate that you would earn at a course now would allow you to have met the certification requirement, even though you wouldn't be on the board till next year.
And that certificate is good for as long as you continuously serve on the board.
Uninterrupted, right?
And to supplement what Michael said, the form that you can get is on the website of the Department of Business and Professional Regulation, so you don't spend too much time searching the internet to figure out where that is. And also, the basic premise of the concept comes from the legislative desire that board members at least have some basic level of understanding of what they're doing if they're going to serve on the board. It was thought about to make it compulsory to take the courses, but that was considered something that might discourage people from serving on the board, and that's the last thing the legislature wants to do.
Hey, we got to go to break. When we come back, we have more with Michael and Robert. Call us if you have a question, 888-565-1470. That's 888-565-1470. Great questions today. Hey, we'll be right back.
Is your community association looking for prompt, effective, cost-efficient, and understandable legal advice and services? You'll find that and more with Kaye Bender Rembaum, a full-service commercial law firm concentrating on the representation of more than 800 community associations throughout Florida. With offices in Broward and Palm Beach counties, Kaye Bender Rembaum assists clients in all matters of association representation, including but not limited to collection of assessments, contract negotiation, covenant review and amendment, covenant enforcement, and construction defect claims. Under the direction of attorneys Robert Kaye, Michael Bender, and Jeffrey Rembaum, Kaye Bender Rembaum is dedicated to providing clients with an unparalleled level of personalized and professional service regardless of their size, and takes into account their individual needs and financial concerns. For more information, visit www.kbrlegal.com or call 954-928-0680.
And we are back. I've got a question I want to ask. We got some really good calls today. 888-565-1470. I got a trick question for you. Why should somebody hire your firm?
You like this one?
Nah, you go for it.
Why should somebody hire our firm? Well, if they're looking for experienced association counsel who emphasizes the customer service aspect, which is something I find sorely missing in in South Florida, who wants to be able to get prompt responses to their legal issues in a manner that is understandable, that they can feel comfortable with, and they don't want to get nickel and dimed. They want to they're looking for a long-term relationship that they can have with access to their counsel and feel comfortable knowing that we don't have meters on our phones or on our computer screens. Then they should give me a call at 800-974-0680. We can set up a free appointment, no obligation, no charge appointment to talk more about what it is that we do for them and how we can help. Because that's who Kaye Bender Rembaum is. And that's who we've been for 20 plus years.
This is all they do.
You were
This
just
is what
telling
they
someone
specialize in.
how not to run up how to run up a legal bill. One of our callers. So
Correct.
I think that was great information.
And I will say, and I'm going to add this for people who are listening, especially when if you're on your board, you are running a business, as we mentioned. And when you run a business, you do need guidance from your experts. You have your accountant to handle your audits and maybe your financials. You have your insurance agent who addresses your insurance needs. You might have a management team who gives you your business consulting, and you pay them all. And usually it seems like they paid without issue. The same should be for your lawyer. When you have you should have a budget line item for your legal needs, and you should be able you should reach out to your lawyer when you need legal guidance on issues that are going to have legal needs. All contracts, you should have your lawyers involved in just about any contract that you're going to consider as a board.
How many times do we get them come to us after the contract's been breached, say,
Right.
how do we fix this?
And there are so many issues that come up.
Well, right, and the idea though, and Robert's exactly right, and it's a cliche, to pay me now or pay me
little
more
now or
later,
a lot later.
right? But it's true, it's very true, and I have many association clients who will vouch for that and who've made that. That's a mistake you make once. So I'm saying is recognize that your lawyer, whomever if you want an experienced lawyer, you want an association lawyer who's experienced, who's going to be, the bills you receive are reasonable, and because you're also putting them up against the quality of the work you're getting and the response time that is coming with. But you should have a budget there for that, and you shouldn't be afraid to call your lawyer because we might get charged. Like I said, that doesn't always happen with us. We do offer, now and again, we're going to, if you call me up someone call me today. What's a quorum requirement for an HOA election? Because I'm getting challenged. Our documents say it's 51%, but what about the statute? And so this is someone I said, listen, the statute in an HOA says unless your documents provide for a lower number, the quorum requirement's 30%. Okay, well, I'm getting challenged. I said, would you like me to give you a quick email that confirms that? Yes, please. No problem. And I was on the phone maybe 5, maybe 10 minutes, but it was a simple thing. No charge. Okay, and that's not the kind of thing I can do all day. But it is certainly now and again, that's the kind of thing that your lawyer should be there, especially if you've established a relationship, which is what Kaye Bender Rembaum looks to do with you.
What counties do you cover?
We cover from the Florida Keys all the way through Indian River, Orlando. I'm not good with the counties, so I can give you the cities.
Broward.
Certainly
Yes,
Palm
Beach.
Beach, Broward, Miami-Dade, Martin, Collier, Lee County, St. Lucie, Orlando, what county is Orlando in?
Orange?
Do you know that?
Orange County.
It is,
Yeah,
you're right.
into Orlando, yes, and so
And even Sebring.
Wow.
How do people submit questions? Like here we're doing this on March the 11th that can't make it. Can they submit questions?
On the website, we have an email address that will indicate where questions should be sent.
Okay. Because we're going to play the show back on April the 2nd.
Right. But to be fair, where we would love for you to call in here, and if you can't call in here to submit your questions when we do our radio shows on the first Monday of each month, on March 11th, we will have a room of people who will have either submitted questions or we will be taking questions from the floor. So it's unlikely that if you just send a question in that we're going to be able to get to all of them in that session.
You get a lot of questions?
We do.
Do you really?
We do.
I'm excited
Once we
about
get
this.
past the initial shyness to when we begin, the questions just flow.
Yes.
Wow. Any other dates coming up that you want to announce?
Well, I do. I wanted to just really quick, I wanted to reiterate the 2 expos that we're going to be at. The Broward County Condo and HOA Expo at the Broward County Convention Center, Wednesday, March 18th. And then on the following Wednesday, March 25th at the Palm Beach County Convention Center. At both of those expos, we're going to be offering education. 2-hour legal update. It's the 2015 legal update. And 1 hour on the covenant enforcement. Board members are welcome to attend. Managers, of course, attend and get their free credits. The legal update is 2 credits every manager must take every year. So if you've not yet had your legal update, please do come to either the Broward County Convention Center on March 18th or the Palm Beach County Convention Center March 25th. If you go to BrowardCondoHOAExpo.com or PBCondoHOAExpo.com, you can register right online for those classes and to attend. And like I said, email me at info@kbrlegal.com, and you can put on there, hi, Mike. I'd like to meet you at the expo, either Broward County or Palm Beach. Would you mind sending me an invitation for free lunch? Because I'd be happy to do that and have you attend and meet us at our booth, come to the classes and have a lunch and experience the exhibit hall as well. So hopefully you all can. That's March 18th and March 25th. They both start at 10:30 and they go to 3:30. And then we also, of course, continue our classes. This Wednesday, I'll be doing the condominium board member certification class. That's in Weston at the Bonaventure Town Center. That starts at 6:30 p.m. We have the covenant enforcement election issues classes it's going to be March 19th in our offices at Pompano Beach, 6:30 p.m. We have the HOA certification classes in Palm Beach Gardens and in Pompano Beach, excuse me. March 10th is going to be in Palm Beach Gardens, and in April 28th is the next one in Pompano. We have the Fair Housing class, and that is a great program. It's a 1-hour program on assistance animals versus pets. It continues to be a very hot
topic.
issue. I will tell you that we've had our classes, we were doing those monthly for a year, and they were all 30 to 50 people. We are now doing them every other month in our Pompano Beach office. The next class will be May 19th. We just actually had one in our Pompano Beach office. A nice full class, and we have that May 19th, 6:30 in Palm Beach Gardens. They will continue to be monthly, and March 24th is the next Fair Housing class in Pompano Beach. They begin at 6 p.m.
They're all free.
Yes. Well, and I also want to remind the audience, you talking about our partner Jeff Rembaum, he's also doing town hall programs, and he's got some town halls set for Jupiter and Vero Beach. And on March 18th, they'll at the FAU in Jupiter, and in March 31st at the Bethel Creek House and Indian River Library in Vero Beach. And so please go to the website, kbrlegal.com, and look up all that information. And if you want more information on any of these programs, info at kbrlegal.com, or call us at 800-974-0680.
You know, and they can also go to your website and watch today's show again.
And get more info.
Get more information. Hey, we love having you guys on.
And I have to just say one thing, because Renee will not like me if I don't. All those programs are free to attend. The certification classes for managers, you get credits as well. The covenant and election issues, you get credits. The town halls are great information. The fair housing, you get credits.
And there's light snacks.
And we'll be
light snacks, correct.
We'll be back with you next Friday, same
Thank you.
time. And everybody have a great week. Peace and love.
We're out.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert Show with Steve-O and Renee. Tune in every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. while some of the top local experts in their field from Broward and Palm Beach counties educate you in the areas of law, health, financial, and home improvement. You can also call our offices at 888-574-6999 to become an expert on our show. The opinions expressed